First of all, thank you all for tuning into the Alvani Blacked Out Stories channel. And before we start, please take some time to like, subscribe and share this video. With that said, could you take a little time to hear the story about the frustrated liberal? This story is based on the factual experiences of numerous testimonies of intersection freedom fighters. And without further ado, intersectionality, a blunder.
Hello, you. I want to share something with you and anyone who will listen to my story. I never thought I would fall victim to the problems of liberal intersectionality. As a minority member of the Western world, I felt like my experiences were finally being heard and understood. I found solace in liberal movements, but it wasn't long before I realized that things weren't as simple as they seemed. As I became more aware of the principles of intersectionality, I started to feel like I was walking on eggshells. I couldn't talk about certain topics without being dismissed or criticized by members who told me that our fight for equality and inclusion was equal. But boy, was I wrong. I felt like my identity was being hyphenated to the point where it was no longer about me as an individual, but rather a set of characteristics that defined me as a person. It was more of the liberal aggressive majority rule on the smaller minorities within movement. And I was being ruled. The liberal intersectionality movement became a double-edged sword. On one hand, it helped bring light to important issues and allowed me to feel seen and heard. On the other hand, it compartmentalized my experiences and sometimes made me feel like I wasn't liberal enough or woke enough. There was always something more I needed to do or learn, but it was exhausting. Intersectionality also didn't leave room for nuance or differing opinions. It seemed like every person who identified with the movement had to share the exact same views and opinions. Any deviation was met with backlash and shaming. It felt like a competition to see who could be the most marginalized rather than inclusive space for all. As a result, I started to distance myself from the movement and focus more on my individual experiences and opinions. I realized that I didn't need to fit a mold or check certain boxes to be valid. My identity is complex, and no one can ever fully understand it, but that doesn't make it any less critical. In conclusion, the problems of liberal intersectionality are complex and can be very damaging. While it's important to acknowledge the intersections of our identities, it shouldn't define us or limit our experiences. The movement must be more inclusive, supportive of differing opinions, and allow for more nuanced conversations. Hopefully things change for the good. I'm tired of the fighting internally. This group has become a ticking time bomb, and I fear I may be adding to its detonation. Well, that concludes my testimony. Goodbye and take care.
Well, that wraps up that story. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And remember to stick around for more stories from Alvani's Blacked Out Stories.